Welcome to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. They've got a busy slate, so Skip, Shannon, let's get to it.
Good morning. Welcome to Undisputed. I'm Jenny Taft with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. And I always ask how you guys are doing, but really, Skip, how are you doing today?
I tried to prepare you for this. You had a year.
It's over. I give up. I'm now a Bucks fan.
No.
Yeah, I'm just a Bucks fan. I give up. No more.
Hold on. Time out.
Never again will I root for my team.
No, Skip, you talking about you've been a Cowboy fan for 60 years.
Yeah.
In a matter of 24 hours, you change your allegiance? You ought to be ashamed of yourself, Skip. Dak, you hear that?
I'm ashamed of my team. I'm ashamed of my owner and my quarterback. Both of them.
Oh, no. This is all on your own.
Yeah.
You're smiling a bit too much, Shannon, for all this. You got a little too much of a grin. And Skip, I saw all your posts on social media. The show might be challenging, but we're going to get through it. And here is the latest everything with the Cowboys and Dak. Because after yesterday's deadline passed without Dak and the Cowboys agreeing on a long-term deal, his older brother, Dak Prescott, tweeted this. There's a reason I was never a Dallas Cowboys fan growing up or before they drafted Dak. And after today, who knows how much longer I'll be cheering for them. And according to Jane Slater, Dak wanted to get a deal done at the last minute, but it was just too late, and they ran out of time. The new contract would have reportedly paid Dak between $33 and $35 million annually, with $110 million guaranteed. Skip, I'll get to you, but Shannon first. How close do you believe that they came to making a deal?
I don't believe they were that close. Skip, I believe this was an opportunity to show that both sides were trying. Skip, you had 17 months. It came out, So let me give y'all an advance. July 14th, 2021 would probably be the deadline in which if you have the franchise tag placed on you, you have until then, 4 Eastern, to get a long-term deal, or you must play under the tag. That's July 14th, 2021. Skip, they had 17 months to get this deal done. And this says, well, Dak got involved. Skip, Dak could have gotten involved a long time ago. You've been imploring Dak to pick up the phone and call Jerry like every other superstar that's gotten a big-time deal done. They've done that. So Dak could have done that. At the end of the day, a lot of, and I don't know how fans view this, having played in the NFL, at the end of the day, Skip, the agent works at the behest of the player. And there have been times Marvin would call me and say, well, Shannon, this is where we are.
Marvin Demmer,
who's my agent.
Yep.
He would call me and say, Shannon, this is where we are. I said, do you think we can get him to move? He said, yeah, I think I can get a couple more. Once we got within 100,000, 50,000, Skip, I said, good, I'm gone. My first the second contract I did, the rookie contract, what it is. So 92. Agent, we going back and forth. They're at 150,000. Skip, I was like, nah, I think I'm worth a little bit more. And my agent says, yeah, I think you're probably worth the first year 300,000. Skip, they got to 225. I say, I'm sold. I said, I'm done. I said, I'll get there. I'll prove myself. He's like, Shannon, you don't need to do that. Just sit tight. Skip, I was sitting tight. I was watching the Olympics. I'm watching in Barcelona. I was like, no, I need to go. So at the end of the day, Skip, I decided. The agent said, well, Shannon, we can get more money. No, I'm going to camp. Dak could have done that, Skip? 3 months ago? 4 months ago? Because everybody keeps saying, Jane Slater said it. Clarence Hill Jr. said it. There have been a lot of agents, a lot of people that have said the number is between 33 and 35 million, with around the guarantees what Carson Wentz and Jared Goff got. So nothing has changed. So Dak could have got involved 6 months ago. I believe this was an effort on both of their parts, so nobody looks bad. Man, we're trying diligently. Skip, there was no conversation between September and March. There's been no conversation between March and July. And now all of a sudden you working diligent to try to get a deal done? Man, miss me with that. We all know how these things work. I do not believe they were working as hard as they're portraying it, as they're leading people to believe at this moment. Dak's like, hold on. They got 2 years left. They got this guaranteed. I got no years left, and you want to give me a comparable deal. Skip, we know how listen, I don't think this is going to end well. There have been 2 quarterbacks to play under the franchise tag. Drew Brees played up under in 2000, if I'm not mistaken, 2005, Skip. He ripped his shoulder. It would have been very interesting to see, had he been able to stay healthy, what they would have done with Phillip Rivers, because they had taken Phillip Rivers. Remember, Skip, they took Phillip Rivers They drafted Eli #1. They traded that pick to the Giants, and the Giants took him. And then Kirk Cousins. We know how that ended. So since 1993, Skip, what is that, 27 years, we've had 2 quarterbacks play under the tag, and none of them have re-signed with the team that placed the tag on their head. I don't care what anybody says, there's some bad blood going on here because his brother spoke out. And remember what I said, Skip, when a family member or close friend speaks out, people will automatically assume, oh, he changed that up. But that's Dak talking. Skip, it ain't looking good for your team. It ain't looking good long term.
For once, I have no choice but to agree with just about everything you said. I will tell you this. Yesterday afternoon, soon after the deadline, when I first read Jane Slater's tweet, we had her on our show at the end of the show yesterday.
Correct.
And I do respect her, and I do believe in her reporting. But when I first read that she said they just ran out of time to do a deal, I went full-on elation because my first thought was, wow, did Dak Prescott try to run to the table in the 11th hour?
Right.
Did he suddenly say, okay, let's work it out?
Right.
And they just simply ran up against a deadline they could not beat? Then I saw the tweet from his brother, Tad, his older brother. And it is so scathing. It is so negative, what he's saying, that I went from momentary elation to complete deflation. Because to your final point, there is bad blood between my quarterback and my owner. I don't care what you say. The brother is not going to tweet that.
No.
I always hated the Cowboys up until they drafted my brother.
Right.
And now I'm going to have a hard time rooting for them again next year.
Right.
Something went way south here. Animosity built for months on end. I don't believe anything happened yesterday except that one side or the other, and I'm just going to guess, it was Stephen Jones' side, Jerry's side. I believe that they indicated that they made a last-second run back to Dak and company and Todd France, his agent, just to say, hey, one last time,
this is
here. And I don't believe the deal changed more than a couple of pennies, maybe.
Right.
But the deal that they offered, they stood by, and they offered one last time.
Right.
And then I believe they've lost the PR battle here. And I believe they were trying to do one last spin control to say, hey, at least we tried to get this done.
Correct.
And it sounds like Dak laughed at them. It sounds like the blood was already so bad that he had said no, period, end of story. It sounds like this was the beginning of the end yesterday of a fairy tale story that I feel like I was on top of from day one, because when we opened this show, September 6th of 2016, the first thing I started talking about was, have you seen this kid?
Yep.
There was an exhibition game, a preseason game played right out here at the Coliseum. Cowboys at Rams.
Yep.
They do it just about every summer.
Yep.
That guy lit it up. Romo did not play. Then Romo, as you know, at Seattle, got hurt again.
Hurt his back.
And he continued to light it up against a full-strength Legion of Boom in the third dress rehearsal preseason game.
Right.
And I said, you know what? That's legit. That kid can play. And all he did was go win Rookie of the Year.
Correct.
And again, I'm not saying he's Patrick Mahomes, and that's the problem. I'm not saying he's all-time great. I've never made the case he's destined to be a Hall of Famer.
Right.
Do I write that off as a possible? No, I don't write it off. And I stand by what I said from the start. He is capable of winning a couple of Super Bowls for the Dallas Cowboys. But he has played only 4 years, and something went way wrong here in the negotiations to the point that he and the owner alienated each other one way or the other. And now I have owner versus quarterback going into a year where the team is definitely better than it was a year ago.
Yeah, Skip, I think what alienated him is that Dak probably felt, he's like, hold on, everybody else, I see all these other players that got in my draft class signing extensions. And if you look at it, you tell me I play the toughest position. You say I play the most important position. And here I am, nothing. And I told you, Skip, I said, now what's going to happen? They're going to let Carson Wentz, and they're going to let Jared Goff sign, and the price is going to be more than what they think they should have to pay Dak.
Okay.
And once that happens...
I will give you this. Jerry should have been out ahead of this, way out ahead of it.
Yes.
And for whatever reason, he was not. But remember, in midstream, a year or so ago, he changed agents.
Yes.
He went to Todd France of CAA. Todd France is known as a tough negotiator.
Yes.
Todd France has Aaron Donald, DeAndre Hopkins, Fletcher Cox.
Yeah.
He's a big timer.
Yeah.
And he's a heavy hitter. And once he digs in, he stays dug. And they dug in. And now we're to the essence of this. I still have a hard time condemning Jerry Jones for the way he handled it in recent days. This is where we get to the ultimate X factor. I'm going to ask you this question because nobody has dealt with this question for a year and 3 months. Not one time has one media member reported what is Dak demanding. Not one time.
Right.
Nobody.
Right.
We had Clarence Hill on yesterday. We had Jane Slater. Do you know what? No, I'm not sure. Not sure. That we have an idea of Jerry's offer.
33 to 34, 35.
Okay. Although ESPN reported this morning that it was 35. So let's say it was 35.
Go to high end.
Okay. And the point is, if you go 35 in the first 2 years of a 5-year contract, that's more than the tag. So let's look. This is a fair offer. You can argue it's not the best offer, but it's a fair market offer. Jane Slater reported that it's 110 guaranteed, but the key number, as Shannon Sharpe has taught me from the start, what is guaranteed at signing? What do you know you can put in the bank over the course of the deal? 80 million, said Jane Slater.
Yeah.
Okay, let's look back, shall we, at Carson Wentz and Jared Goff. Okay, Jared Goff got, the guaranteed at signing was 57 for him. Carson Wentz, 66.5. So if Dak, in fact, is offered 80, that's at least it's fair. You could say it's not great, but it's fair.
That's more than fair considering there's no state tax.
Okay, there's no state tax. And again, I'll
that's
throw
an extra
this
6%,
in.
9%, 6 to 8% in his pocket.
Okay, and you are the quarterback of America's team, and you do get endorsements, but I'll leave that be for now. I'm just saying that the average annual of 35 is more than 33.5 for Jared Goff and 32 for Carson Wentz.
Right.
Remember, Jared Goff, #1 overall pick. Carson Wentz, #2 overall pick.
Okay.
That guy, number 135. But he proved it. He came from nowhere, and he proved it.
Right.
It's Brady-esque.
Right.
Except in the 11th hour, he didn't do what Brady did pretty much from the start, which is say, okay, that's a fair offer. I'll take that. It may be a little under market, but I'll take it.
Right.
No, Todd France dug in and said, we want, and I'm going to tell you what I reported from the start. I'm going to stand by this here today. I don't know the exact numbers, but I do have one source pretty close to these negotiations. And what did I tell you from the start that he told me? This agent, Todd France, is overplaying his hand in this negotiation, that they're a little too far, they're a little high here, they're a little unrealistic. And I was led to believe this was north of 40. So the first couple of years were more 41, 42 or somewhere in that ballpark. But I don't know that for a fact because I didn't get an exact number. I'm just pretty sure it was north of 40.
Okay.
Patrick Mahomes wound up with 45 average annual. We can argue his contract all day and all night. It's 10 years, actually 12 with the on top of the 2 that he still has on his deal.
Correct.
Okay, 12 more years, but 45 annual. Didn't get that much up front, but the point is he wanted to get in that range of 45-ish.
Right.
And yet he has not proven yet what Patrick Mahomes has proved. Patrick Mahomes won the MVP and he won the Super Bowl MVP, and I cannot take that away. I'm not as big a fan of him as you are, and yet I remain a fan of his until this moment when I think you're still being a little unrealistic. I get it that you don't want your contract to be rendered prehistoric overnight when Deshaun signs.
Correct.
I get that.
Right.
But there's still some reason to be had here where you say, gee, maybe I should get a little bit more in the ballpark of 35 a year. So I don't know. Did he say, okay, I'll come down to 38? And Jerry said, no, I'm stuck at 35. I don't know this. But there's a huge X factor here that Jerry Jones is getting roundly condemned for, why didn't you just pay the man? And I keep asking, how much? So how much more? I want you to tell me, how much more should Jerry have gone above 35 to pay for a guy that you don't believe in? You've never liked him.
Skip, before I answer your question, the tip-off should have been when he changed agents. Now, remember when Anthony Davis shifted agents? I said, Skip, he did that for a reason.
Well, that was to get here.
I said, because Anthony Davis is a max player. Hell, I could get him max money.
You easily could have.
Yeah, so,
Anthony Davis could get himself max.
Right.
Yes.
So he theoretically didn't even need an agent.
Correct.
Because he already knew he was a max player, and he's going to get maxed out. When Dak Prescott went from his agent, and I don't know who he was, to Todd France of CAA, Dak felt like, you know what? The guy that I have, Jerry can run over. Jerry, and he can talk him into getting signed a lower deal than what I'm worth. Let me go get somebody that's been in these rooms, that's taught. Skip, for me, once Dak says, hold on, I keep hearing Jerry and Steven say, oh, I'm a franchise guy. They're in good hands. They're looking for the next 10 to 15 years with Dak Prescott. And I see this quarterback signing, that quarterback sign, and this guy got 2 years left, and that guy got 2 years left, and this guy, hold on, wait a minute. You keep telling me I'm this, but I don't see you doing anything about keeping me long term. And so Dak, the more it happens, everybody's getting the money on his team, Skip. He saw them pay
I hear that.
Zach Martin.
I know.
So for me, Skip.
Well, not just Amari and DeMarcus Lawrence and Zeke.
Yeah.
And they all had career worst years last year after they got paid. So it felt wrong because Jerry is notorious for overpaying until now.
I believe, Skip, he's looking at it, says, you know what, since I had to play these contracts out, I'm looking somewhere between 15 and 20% over what Jerry Goff got. Over. So if you're looking at $33.5 million, 20% over that is another $7 million. So that's putting him at 40 mil.
So are you okay with him getting 40, 41, 42? Again, he wanted 4 years. What if he wanted 40, 41, 2, 3, like that?
Skip, and I was telling you, I believe it's going to cost him somewhere around $200 million. Once Patrick Mahomes signed for $500 million, Skip, I don't see a situation now where a quarterback signs a 5-year or 4 year.
But remember, you're talking about 12 total years.
Yeah, but and that's what I'm saying. I'm saying, if Dak were to do, let's just say he does a 10-year deal, he's going to be looking for $400 million, $40 million a year. That's what he's going to be looking for. I believe Dak is looking somewhere around $38 to $40 million a year. Now, the bonus that you told me, that's 20% more than what Wentz got. Yep. Because Wentz got $66 million. Mm-hmm. So if you do 66
that's the guaranteed at signing.
At the signing.
Yep.
So that'll be about 79, so he's getting 80. So he's there. But he also wants 20% in the average of what that guy got.
My point to you is, this was a credible offer from Jerry Jones. Remember, Kirk Cousins, Washington, they never made him what I thought was an even credible offer because they didn't want him to take it.
Right.
So they said, well, let's tag him.
Right.
And they tagged him twice, and he, God bless him, he struck it rich in Minnesota, and he's played pretty well. Not great, but pretty well. The point is, this was a credible offer that I believe they really wanted him to take. It's not like they were trying to run him out of town. What has Jerry Jones always said? He always asked the media, when have you known me not to get one of these done?
And that's...
When have you?
And that's...
Never. This is the first time.
And that's what Dak is looking at. You've never had a problem paying anyone. But for some reason, I'm getting pushback. Why is that? Because you tell me you believe in me. You said I'm the guy that can lead you back to where you want to be. But when it comes time to getting paid, I'm getting pushback. So why is that, Jerry?
Well, to me, and again, I rarely defend Jerry Jones on anything, and I love me some Dak Prescott. But right now, Jerry Jones is the easiest target in sports. You said yesterday that the PR battle is being won by the owner. Not in this case. I don't believe that for a second. Every TV show I turn on, every radio, every website I go on, everybody is condemning Jerry Jones. How could you not get this done? Well, maybe he was just asking more money than you thought your cap could withstand. And I'm going to remind everybody, I think the cap is going to plunge next year, and it might also take a little hit the following year, depending on how this pandemic hits this football season, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that's a problem that the owner the buck stops on this desk, he's got to say, man, I just don't know. I'm making him what I think is a very good offer. I'll make him the second highest paid quarterback, but I'm not going to jump him up into Mahomes' territory because he's not that guy yet.
Well, the thing I look at is, Skip, I think the owners are very, very smart, and I think they take out insurance policies against things like this that could potentially happen. So Jerry will be just fine. Players don't get an opportunity to do that.
But you're talking about his net worth. I'm talking about what the cap will withstand.
But that's what I'm saying, Skip. And Dak is looking at, says, hold on. These guys, I guarantee you, even during the pandemic, the NFL is not about to give Fox and these networks a discount for broadcasting them games.
Nope.
Agreed. Hold on. And I'm sure Shanks is up there right now saying, wait a minute. We're in a pandemic. Mm-hmm. We don't have live sporting events. We're not generating the ads that we need to. Mm-hmm. And Roger Goodell said, okay, my bad.
Okay.
So Dak Prescott said, my bad, no fans with it. I need my money.
Okay. So, given all that,
yes,
I'm left with the doomsday scenario. I'm left with a lot of people leaping to the conclusion he's going to get tagged this year and he's going to get tagged next year, and it's game over. I'm left with a quarterback having to face another year of playing for a contract. I thought he started to, I don't know if I want to say crumble under the pressure. He started to strain under the pressure last year. He started to try too hard, to stress, to press, to get a little too fine with his throws. And I don't want to see that happen again.
Right.
This doesn't feel good or right to me. The locker room's going to be upset about this. They're going to get asked about it. Mm-hmm. Every day they're available to the media this year. How do you think Dak's playing? How do you think?
Right.
And I'm sick of asking, what do you think? I wanted to know he was signed, sealed, and delivered for 4 or 5. I don't care what the length of the deal is. Just sign him up and get it done. And I think Jerry tried. And I think the new agent, I blame him a lot. I think they wanted to get at least up in the Mahomes region, and now the blood got bad. Maybe it was because of what happened in September. Maybe they did pull the contractual rug out from under Jerry Jones in September.
And plus, Dak is looking at like, you're asking me to do things that no other quarterback in the history of the game has been asked to do. You said, well, Jack needs to get to an NFC championship. It's the only position that gets paid on potential, rather than what you've done. Everybody else has to prove it first.
Yep.
Quarterback is the only position that doesn't have to do that. And so now I heard James say it yesterday, if Dak had gotten to an NFC championship game, Tony Romo never even got close to an NFC championship game.
Nope.
Well, Dak's a 4th-round pick. Hell, Tony Romo was an undrafted free agent, and Jerry made him the highest player. He made him the highest paid player as an undrafted free agent, not getting to an NFC championship game.
Yeah,
Dak Prescott says.
I got it. Quick point of order. Romo did come within a wrong call of getting to the NFC championship game because Dez caught it. But that's a whole other issue.
You told me that Dak Prescott came within them stopping Jared Goff on a 3rd and 13 with getting to an NFC championship game.
Well, how about that rookie year? How about Mason Crossbar?
He wasn't close to that one. Huh? He wasn't even close to that. A-Rod got that one.
Okay, you want to know what my emotions were, what it left me with late last night? Do you remember when Tom Brady first looked like he was going to become a free agent?
Yes.
When I just threw this out there, I said, hey, if this thing is going south between Dak and Jerry, I would just as soon have Tom Brady as my quarterback for the next 2 years. So I'm back to square one. I'm back to thinking, what if they had signed Tom Brady for $25 million and $25 million? That's a lot less than 34.1 that this guy's going to make right now, right?
Yeah.
25 and 25. It's a what have you done for me lately league. Mm-hmm. It's a win now league.
Right.
The team's pretty to very good.
Okay.
Put Brady in the mix just like he is with the Tampa receivers. But again, Pro Football Focus said this trio is the best in football. Right. You don't think Brady would be happy with this group also?
Yeah,
sure he would.
Should. But here's the thing, Skip. If Jerry really wanted to know Dak's worth, he should have put the tag on him. And then he could either match what someone else was willing to pay or let him walk. It's as simple as that.
I know, but it's not as simple because the system is rigged for the owner in that way, and then the players signed off on it. They gave it away.
I have no problem about that. But I'm saying, you don't believe he's valuable. Well, maybe he's not that valuable to you. But let him be a unrestricted free agent, and if somebody else offers him $40 million, you're like, well, that's too much. Dak, we wish you the best. Mm-hmm. But if they don't, you say, well, you might can come back and get him for $25 million or $20 million.
Well, now I just got trouble. That's all I got. Trouble, and Shannon Sharpe is happy, and I'm not.
No mercy.
NFL Network's James Jones thinks Cam Newton could be an upgrade for the Patriots over Tom Brady. He says it's due not only to Cam having a chip on his shoulder, but also because Brady missed a lot of throws last year that he's used to making. Adding, quote, I watched a lot of Tom last year, and I know a lot of the blame when you're playing with these superstar quarterbacks will go to wide receivers. So, Shannon, how much do you agree with this?
Where have you heard that from, Skip? Where have you heard that from, Skip Bayless?
I've heard it wrong and wrong from across the table for months now.
Everybody says that, Skip. People have been saying that. It's okay.
Okay, but again, you didn't say Cam was better than Brady. You were just saying Tom wasn't very good last year.
Right. Okay. No. And I'm not saying that.
But that's what James is saying.
No, Skip. And I've said this, is that when you play with a historically great player at that position, normally the blame falls on the surrounding positions. Running back, the running game isn't very good. The receiving core isn't very good. So he gets off the hook, so to speak, as far as blame. But Tom missed throws last year. Tom was flinching in the pocket. Now, maybe his supporting cast, and I think the biggest thing was, Skip, is that Tom is not at the level where he can elevate everybody all the time now. He went to Tampa so they can elevate him, so they can carry, and that's okay, Skip. After 20 years, you know what? Hey, let me sit back and let you drive me around a little bit. That's okay. And that's what we're seeing. Skip, is he an upgrade? I mean, how do you upgrade 12-4? They did make it to what? The wild card game, so they were a wild card because they obviously they lost. But Skip, that's a high bar. And you're looking at, because I think the thing is that when you look at Tom, you always go back. He did go to 9 Super Bowls. He did win 6. But we're just evaluating 2019. And the 2019 Tom Brady was not the Tom Brady that we're used to seeing. So will Cam be able to do some things that Tom wasn't able to do? Sure. Is he going to be, his improvisational skills are better? Sure. Will he be able to get out of harm's way better than Tom? Sure. But to say that he's just going to be better because he has a chip on his shoulder, Skip, I'm not willing to go there.
Really?
No.
Okay. So you're sort of 50-50 on this. Half of the equation you're good with, but the conclusion to the equation you're not good with. Okay, I want to be very clear. I like and respect James Jones. We've had him on this show, I believe you remember, right?
Yep.
He's very good on TV, and he's very wrong in his premise here. And I'm going to remind him of this as this season unfolds, because now he has thrown down the gauntlet. Nobody yet had gone so far as to sort of pit Cam Newton versus Tom Brady, and that's what he just did. This is now head-to-head, mano a mano. And by the way, Cam himself used the card-playing analogy the other day. Do you remember this when he did the YouTube interview with Odell? He said, it's like we've exchanged hands. I take your hand, you take mine, and let's see what we can do.
Right.
Well, it doesn't exactly carry out, because it's not like if Tom Brady had gone to Carolina, then you got something.
Right.
But you did take Tom Brady's hand.
Right.
And now we will see how you can play the hand that he was dealt last year. A hand that, to me, felt, I'm going to use my favorite word again, a little sabotage. I believe that last year in New England, Tom Brady had the worst supporting cast in all of pro football. That receiving core, and again, James always says, I'm going to defend receivers. He was one for, obviously, Aaron Rodgers and the Packers.
Hey, we know what Aaron...
Yeah, okay, all right, okay, we got it. But he's going to defend receivers, and I appreciate that. But if you look at what he didn't have last year, he obviously did not have Rob Gronkowski. He did not have David Andrews, who was the captain of that offensive line at center. He had Antonio Brown for a minute. He had Josh Gordon for maybe 2 minutes, right? And then he was cut. And then he had a N'Keal Harry, who I was a big fan of coming out of Arizona State, late first-round pick, hurt in camp, missed the first 8 games, and was, dare I say, ineffective over the last 8, could not hook up with, establish any rapport with Tom Brady. How about the tight ends last year? There are a bunch of no-names, except for one, Benjamin Watson, who you know very well. He's 39 years of age and just retired. They had the worst production of any tight end unit in all of pro football. They had Mohamed Sanu. Did you love Mohamed Sanu?
No.
No, you did not, because you basically said he looks like a bust after they gave a second-round pick for him. He did have off-season ankle surgery. God bless him. Maybe he will bounce back. But he was a shell of himself last year, which brings me to another shell, Julian Edelman. Beat up, broken down, led the league in drops. Yet, despite everything I just detailed, including a defense that started out all-time hot and kind of started to lose its way down the stretch, despite all that, Tom Brady put them in position to be the 2 seed. And you don't want to hear this, and you never respond to this because there's no counter to this. But they were in position. Brady, in the final home game, regular season, Foxborough, Miami Dolphins, division rival, they were starting to come alive. They had pulled off the big upset of the Eagles, so they were dangerous. And yet Tom Brady did what he always has done for 20 years, game-winning drive. Touchdown pass to little James White, 24-20 home team with 3 minutes left. Well, this is Bill Belichick, the GOAT of at least defensive coaches. And what happened? You can't defend what happened. Fitzmagic goes 75 yards. Ryan Fitzpatrick goes 75 yards in 13 plays, including a 5-yard touchdown pass to Gesicki at the buzzer to pull it out 27-24. It wasn't like they just needed a field goal to tie or win. They needed a touchdown, and they got it. That cost this team the 2 seed.
Yeah.
Well, Tom Brady did more with less than he's ever done.
But my question is, Skip, you talking like that game cost them a playoff berth.
It cost them a week off that they desperately needed.
If Tom is that guy, they got a home game. If Tom is what you said he is, why didn't he win against the Titans?
That team was below average by the end of the year. If you gave them a week off in a home game, I would have liked their chances a lot more than running into a red-hot Titans team.
But was Miami red hot? Because you say they were coming off a big victory over the Eagles.
Were they Tennessee? The Tennessee that went to Baltimore and knocked them out of the playoffs?
Well, I guess you can say Miami was pretty good because guess what they did, Skip? They beat the Eagles, who made the playoffs, and they beat the Patriots, who made the playoffs. So they had to be feeling pretty good about themselves. And at the end of the day, Skip, that's Tom Brady. If he's what you said he is, he's got to beat Ryan Tannehill. But my question to you and a lot of others, Skip, when he had somebodies, why did you and others go out of your way to call them nobodies? You never gave Wes Welker credit. You never gave 7-Eleven, what's his name?
Chris Hogan.
Chris Hogan.
Yeah.
You never gave those guys, Troy Brown and the David Pattons. You never gave them credit. Now, all of a sudden, he had nobodies. So when he had somebodies, you called them nobodies because that elevated Tom. Now he can't get it done like he once could. You want to say, oh, they were terrible. What?
You called them nobodies, too.
No.
Yes, you did.
No, Skip, what I said is that you can't say just because they're not Julio, they're not top 5 receivers, they work well in that system because you got to have guys that are unselfish and say, you know what? 1 week I might catch 11, but the next 2 weeks I might catch 5 combined.
I did have respect for Wes Welker and for Amendola and ultimately for Edelman. But were any of those guys, including 7-Eleven, high draft picks? No. But they weren't draft picks.
But see, Skip, that's the thing. You look at them because Tom Brady wasn't a high draft pick.
Nope.
And he turned out to be okay.
I'd say.
Okay, then.
Okay.
So you got to look at the receivers like that.
So now I look at the receivers, and Belichick added Damiere Byrd and Marquise Lee. You love that? Cam, you're going to love it. I want to know, can you take the hand you've been dealt by Bill Belichick and say, watch this, MVP?
Well, sometimes, Skip, you get dealt a hand, you just throw it back in. I ain't playing that hand. I ain't playing that hand.
Okay, I'm going to remind James Jones. Cam is coming off not 1, but 2 shoulder surgeries on the throwing shoulder. He's coming off just this past year, Liz Frank foot surgery. As you know, it's serious business.
Right.
They say he's 100% or at least 90-some%. I'm going to knock on wood for him. God bless him. But there's some X factor about, can you be that guy? Can you take the punishment? If you're at best outside the pocket, if you're at best running and throwing, but running to throw, can you take the pounding anymore that you used to take at age 31? I don't know. That's a huge question to me. And I'm going to remind you, Cam, again, if anybody can live up to stand up to this challenge, it's that man, because this Cam Newton believes in himself the way very few humans believe in themselves athletically.
Right.
But you are replacing the GOAT in Foxborough. It ain't easy. And number two in this equation, the GOAT didn't retire. Usually the GOAT's gone.
Right.
So you don't have to keep competing with, you know, it's only the ghost of the GOAT.
Well, you're going to be competing against what Tom is doing in Tampa on a weekly basis.
And clearly, he has more weapons than he had a year ago.
Yeah.
So now we'll see, right? We'll start to find out, because it's going to be Brady versus Cam. Cam got dealt, I think, a below average hand.
Right.
I'm not going to call it a bad hand, but below average. He does have Bill Belichick on his side. He's got Josh McDaniels on his side. The first thing he has to do is go win the job, and I'm not dead sure that's done.
Right.
That's a done deal yet. You go do that, and then James Jones has thrown down the gauntlet. He will be better than Tom Brady.
All I need Cam to be is to be 2018, the first half of the season, Cam. Forget 2015, Cam. I need 2018. That's plenty good. But I believe that
after 8 games, he got his shoulder busted up.
Yeah.
And he wasn't right after
He wasn't right after that, Skip. But I believe Tom will struggle more than people think in Bruce's offense.
Okay. I'm going to be excited to come sit in the seat. Not because of my Cowboys this year, but because of Tampa Bay.
No, I ain't letting you off the hook like that. You still root for the Cowboys.
Yeah.
No,
I can't help
Bucs fan. Come on, Shannon. He gave it up. He gave it up. We already know. But, guys, we do have to go back to the latest with the Cowboys, because that deadline has come and gone, and Dak and the Cowboys officially have no deal. The two sides failed to reach a long-term agreement yesterday, and Dak now heads into the season on the franchise tag. Shannon, how much longer will Dak be a Cowboy? Let's think about that.
Skip up. Probably another year. I think they'll franchise him again next year. Because Skip,
so 2 more Cowboy seasons.
Right. So Skip, because it makes no sense to me. Okay, 31.4 this year, 37.7, and 54. Well, if you're going to keep him for 3 years, why not just gave him what you would pay him in those franchise tags over the first 3 years and go from there, Skip?
Okay, I hear you.
That would be the thing. But by going year to year, we're like, that we're still not really sure. We're going to see. It's almost like, Skip, when you put the franchise tag on someone, you're actually betting against them, because you're betting they're not going to be able to replicate or improve what they're doing. Because if you were sure that they could do it, you just go ahead and sign them to a long-term deal. That's my guy. I'm going to ride this out. And so for me, Skip, and Dak is looking at that. Dak's like, man, I heard all this for 4 years. I'm making $4 million over the life of the contract. I hear Steven say this. I hear Jerry say that. We've got our guy. You're all up in the booth, and Jerry is turning around and pumping his fist and high-fiving all his grandkids. And when I need you to put pen to paper and give me the deal that I was asking for, all of a sudden, Jerry, you like, when have you come up with all these cliches? When have you ever known me to get a cramp writing a check? All this other stuff. Well, you ain't writing this check because you can't get a cramp. And so for me, Skip, I believe they franchised him. I believe he'll play another year under the franchise tag, because guess what? The price ain't coming down.
Nope.
You know everything goes up. And so if you had a problem thinking about paying him $35 this year, what the hell you think you're going to ask for next year? 34, 33? Nope. It's not going to happen. So I believe they'll franchise him again, Skip. And then after that, Dak going to say, I'm done with y'all.
Okay. I told you as the show opened, I'm really deflated today. I am legitimately just punctured. The air has gone out of me. And I believe that locker room got deflated by what happened and didn't happen yesterday. So the odds are right now that you are correct. Tag this year, tag next year, see you later. I don't think Jerry's going to go $54 million for Dak. I could be wrong, but I don't think that will play out that way. The point is that it's now set up to have 2 disappointing seasons with a lot of stress, a lot of distraction, a lot of Dak trying too hard, a lot of the team saying, does our owner believe in him or not? Because it doesn't appear to be that way. And if we think via Tad Prescott, the older brother, and his tweet that there's bad blood, You don't think it's going to get worse
Of
over
course.
time? It will just get deeper and deeper. And I'm looking at the possibilities of 8-8, 8-8. My team lives on 8-8. And then 86. And you know what 86 is? It's see you later. It's you are canceled, Dak Prescott.
Yep.
You can hit the open market and see what you can see. And the Cowboys will be in the market for a new young quarterback in the draft or however they want to pull that off. Maybe they'll be a free agent they're more interested in. Heck, for all I know, they'll decide Andy Dalton is the answer.
Right.
I don't know. Andy Dalton did have a hot start to his career. He's been just above average ever since. But now, this is where I'm holding out hope. Now I'm back to my fairy tale. This is my only hope right now, is that Dak Prescott gets mad. He didn't play mad last year. He played tentative to me. It was a whole new ball game for him because, as you know, he got off to the hottest of starts, but it was against the Giants, and it was at Washington, and it was Miami at Jerry World. And they weren't very good teams. Look at their records at the end of the year. They were not very good, which is why they all got to pick high in the draft. Well, then, again, according to Yahoo, the agent said, Jerry, April Fools, or in this case, September Fools, you're the fool because you waited too long.
Right.
The price just went way up. And Jerry got mad, reportedly mad at the agent, and miffed at Dak. And it went downhill from there because Dak didn't play great over the last 13 games. I'm going to point out again, you were the first to say, I give him an F for 7 of those games. And it's painful for me to even talk about them because I couldn't see my guy Dak in the game at New Orleans and then at the Jets. Oh, God, I just ached from that game. And then Green Bay at home, they fall behind 31-3, and you kept saying, well, didn't you get, it's not make it, take it. Didn't they get the ball a bunch of times? They got the ball a bunch of times. And he threw, I think, 2 picks in that game. And then here comes, we do Buffalo on Thanksgiving, which was just a debacle. And at Chicago, remember, it was just, it was impossibly bad.
People thinking Mitchell Trubisky could actually play.
He outplayed Dak Prescott. Dak fought to the end, and he had he had the biggest fourth quarter of any quarterback all year in a losing effort. And then you know what happened at New England. Dak wasn't very good at New England, and I said so on this show. And Dak was worse at Philly, and I said so on this show, even though he played with at least a bum shoulder because he didn't practice that week. That was his bargaining power that went up in smoke, and I believe he stressed and he pressed down the stretch.
Yeah, but if you look at it, let's just say for the sake of argument, okay, they franchised him, he's under this tag. They franchise him next year, and they franchise him the 3rd year. Skip, that's $123 million, which projects out to how much per year? $41 million a year. Now, let me tell you what's going to happen. This is
but right now, Jerry doesn't think he's worth that.
Okay.
Which is why he wouldn't keep him for again, let me finish this. The premise is there's one way out of this for Dak Prescott if he wants to retire a Dallas Cowboy. And I hate to bring this up. You got to get them to a Super Bowl.
Okay, but here's the thing. This is what you're going to say. This is what Jerry Jones is going to say. He gets them to a Super Bowl, wins the Super Bowl. He says, I want Pat Mahomes money. You and Jerry's going to say he's not Pat Mahomes.
I would not say that.
He's going to want 40.
If he went and won this year's Super Bowl,
he's going to want.
I'd say pay the man his money.
Guess what, Skip?
I'd go rounders.
Skip, guess what? He gets to the Super Bowl because he's signing after Mahomes. He's going to want 46, 47 million.
You go win a Super Bowl, I'm good.
Okay.
Name your price. Seriously.
Okay.
Then I would see it because to get them to a Super Bowl and win it, he would have to play at the highest.
Yes.
You know it and I know it.
I do, but I also know Jerry has this perception of him. And Skip, it's hard to persuade someone's perception because that's their reality of what they think you is. He doesn't think Dak is a $40 million quarterback.
Jerry Jones at his advanced age to be able to stand back up on that podium with that Lombardi up in his hand, lift it up.
Right.
That's worth, let me write the check. You know, what you tell me what you want, I'll write it.
I'm telling you, Dak's gonna want 46, 47 million because he's saying I'm signing after. And Skip, I'm not so sure if he were to franchise him again, I'm not so sure Dak shows up.
Okay, well, there, you got me. I'm all in on Dak's side if he goes to win a Super Bowl. It's hard, as you know. Do they have a chance? Sure, they have a chance.
Right.
They got a lot of talent, and I do think they beefed up the defense.
Right.
He is capable. I've told you before. I believe if he retires a Cowboy, he'll retire with 2 Super Bowl rings.
Right.
But now, unfortunately, because of this situation and the bad blood that is starting to build, he's got to do it now.
Right.
At the very least, he has to do it next year. Maybe, like you're going to have 2 shots at it probably.
Right.
And if you pull one of them off, you're good to go and you will retire a Cowboy and you will be happy and you will be extremely well paid and taken care of. But it's a lot to ask. That's the burden he has put on himself right now.
I believe Jerry made a mistake because where he could have got Dak for 180 to 200 million,
I'll buy that.
It's probably moving forward going to cost him 3 to 400 million.
Okay, unless there was no way he was going to take that low number at that point. Once he opted out of his first agent and signed on with CAA and Todd France, I don't think they were talking about that range of money.
But see, the thing is, Skip, is that when you want a guy to sign early, you got to give him a number like, man, that's a lot of money. I got to do that. Because, see, now you offering him what he saw Carson Wentz got, what he saw Jerry Goff got, and they got 2 years. He's not going to take a comparable deal. You got to blow him away in the beginning because he's like, man, I can't turn this down. And now, like I said, Skip, I believe it's going to cost Jerry Jones between $100 and $200 million more than what he originally wanted to pay Dak moving forward.
Okay, if you give him a Lombardi, he'll sign that check.
Well, he ain't going to have no choice.
Okay.
He ain't going to have no choice. He going to want Pat Mahomes. And then everybody going to say, he ain't worth Pat Mahomes type money. He's not worth it. But, hey, Jerry, if Jerry said if he win him a championship, well, he got the championship. So that, nothing less than $400 million.
Okay. This is going to have to be the change in his demeanor. Last year, I told you he played tentatively and more so down the stretch. He needs to get mad at Jerry Jones in a good way. Channel his anger and play angry all year. I did not see that from him last year. I didn't see him play possessed to say, I'll show you, you know what?
No, but that's not his. That's not him.
I don't know.
That's it.
Off Tad Prescott's tweet, maybe it is him now.
Yeah.
Maybe he's angry about this. You got to play that way.
Just calm. Just do
Yeah, because now you're afraid of it.
Hey, Dak,
do what I say.
No, I want Jerry Jones to pay that man. I want Jerry Jones to pay him like he paid everybody else.
Well, right now you want him to overpay that man that you don't love.
No. Hold on, whoa. What you mean overpay?
Overpay a guy that you gave F's to 7 times last year.
Well, he overpaid Tony Romo, so he good. He lack overpaid. Look at all the guys. Skip, you told me last year all those guys making those big bucks were overpaid. Every week you come in.
I just know they underachieved.
Okay.
That's what they did.
Well, Dak said, well, let me get one of those. Yeah. Dak says, I've been underpaid and I've overachieved. And so where's my compensation?
Okay. Well, he didn't play great last year. Just one quick stat before we go to Jenny here.
Yeah.
Just remember, in his first 3 years, Dak Prescott had 15 game-winning drives.
Right.
Last year, guess how many he had? 0. Okay. Yeah. That's why last year was hard to watch. Yeah. It wasn't the same. Yeah. He wasn't the same. So something's going to have to really change this year.
Well, how about Jerry butting in all the time? When is that going to change?
Never.
Oh, okay.
That's not going to change. I agree with Skip. The tweet from his brother, pretty telling.
No mercy.
All right, guys, just this morning, Ezekiel Elliott got pretty fired up on Twitter in a series of 5 tweets. He said, quote, there are a lot of great backs in this league, but I don't understand why the media has to talk down on my game just to uplift other backs. We all are talented football players and can ball. He also added this, guys. Check the stats. Since I entered this league, I have dominated year in, year out. Put some respect on my name. Fired up here. Shannon, what is going on?
Well, Skip, I think the thing is that people don't view Zeke anymore as the best back in football. And last year was the first time he didn't lead the league in average rush yards per game. The first 2 years, Skip, first 2 or 3 years, 2 of the first 3 years, he led the league in rushing. Mm-hmm. Had he not missed those 6 games, I believe it would have been a perfect 3 for 3.
But still in yards per game.
Still in yards per game.
Okay.
Zeke, what Zeke needs to understand is that this is what happens when you're a great back or you're a great player. They measure you by your previous greatness. And when they see drop-offs, they want to know why. And so, and I'm not one of those guys that believe Zeke is not a great back, that Zeke isn't the same back. Zeke is the exact same back. He just doesn't get the opportunities, and the offense is evolving. Dak throws more. They fall behind more. So, therefore, Zeke is less of an option. Skip, you can't run Zeke down by 21. You just can't. You can't run your way back into a ball game. You have to throw your way back into the game. So Zeke is not getting the touches. Zeke, I get it. But in TV, in this business, our job is to critique. Our job is to critique and analyze. Sometimes we have to offer harsh criticism of a said player. And it's not talking down on you. It's about highlighting. And when you look, and I've always said this, Skip, I don't look at Zeke as a breakaway back. I look at Zeke as a power back. There have been very few power backs, Skip, that had home run ability.
Yep.
Adrian Peterson had home run ability. Earl Campbell, Skip, you remember Earl. He could go 80. Even though at that size, he could go 80. That's not Zeke. We've seen Zeke have one big 80-yard run, Skip, and that came on a screenplay. Mm-hmm. So I look at Zeke as a 5 to 8-yard guy, and he'll get you a bunch of those. But I don't look at him as going the distance like a big Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry is a banging back that can go 80, 90. That's not Zeke's game. Zeke is okay. The likelihood of a running back staying on the top pedestal for 7, 8, 9 years, Skip, that's just unrealistic. That's just unrealistic. So Zeke, well, I guess you can take it personal and go out there and rush for 2,000 and say, nah, how you like me now? But I don't think Zeke is approaching this the right way. Because, Saquon is a very good back, and they're looking at Saquon's ability to make people miss and get the home run. Christian McCaffrey, what are we talking about, Skip? We're talking about a guy that went over 100 catches, had 1,000 catches, 1,000 yards receiving, 1,000 yards rushing. Only two other guys had ever done that before. So, Zeke, if you are what you think you are and what you're saying that people play with your name, that's the thing I love about sports, Skip. I can prove it. I can prove me right, and in the process of proving me right, I can prove you wrong.
That is correct, and there's nothing I can do to stop you.
Nothing.
Except try to play defense, and I don't play defense.
Right.
So I can't sit in this chair and stop you from doing anything on the football field.
Not one thing.
If you're that guy, and I got to sit back and say, I give it up.
Right.
So my first question about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in a row tweets. What flipped his switch? Where did this come from?
I have no idea.
It's not like nobody's been talking about Zeke having an off year, having the worst year of the 4 that he's played in the National Football League.
That was going on all season.
All season. And it's been a fairly constant theme through the offseason. And just me, right here, right now, I'm still mourning my quarterback not getting a long-term deal. And it would seem like Zeke could have a little respect for, well, seriously, a little respect for what just happened. If he were tweeting support of his man, Dak Prescott, they done him wrong, whatever he wants to tweet, I'm all in.
You know what this is about, Skip? You know what this is really about? That damn Madden rating. I don't know what
it could be, but that really gets them. That sticks in the craw.
Like, you're actually that. I get it's just it's skipping guys get upset.
Even rookies, CeeDee Lamb's upset, and he hasn't played it down yet.
Jerry Jeudy's
They gave him a 75. Jerry Jeudy walked off an interview with the Madden guy who ranked him low.
And who else? Some receiver, another guy got upset.
Yep.
Oh, Deshaun.
Ooh.
I was like, Skip, I'm like, dude. It's just the rating. But everybody wants to be everybody.
Was that it?
99.
Is that what happened?
It's got to be, Skip. It's got to be. Because if I'm not mistaken, he was, as far as stiff arms, he wasn't even on the stiff arm rating. And I think Saquon was ranked higher than he was, and Christian McCaffrey was ranked higher than he was. Maybe Chubb. So these guys taking this Madden thing too far, Skip. They really are.
And I remind you, ESPN just came out with its rankings after interviewing a lot of personnel directors and players, remember, coaches, and they ranked the top 10 running backs. And one evaluator said, I wouldn't even put him in my top 10 because he's about 60 to 70% of what he is, what he used to be.
And Zeke responded to that, remember?
He did.
He said, that guy must be faded.
He must be faded. Okay. So, Zeke, I love you, man. I still got your picture on my little nightstand. But the truth is, the third tweet is, and I've heard this from my partner across the table, women lie, men lie, stats don't.
Right.
Okay, let's look at the stats. How about it? Let's look at, for each of the first 4 years in the league, your yards per game have dropped.
Right.
And they dropped precipitously last year to 85.
Yes.
What's my favorite stat, or when it comes to Zeke, least favorite? What have I told you? if you throw back at me Well, they became a passing football team, or they were forced to throw too much because they fell behind. Here's the stat that disqualifies that notion. On first down, Ezekiel Elliott had the second most carries in the National Football League. On first down, he had the 19th worst yards per carry on first down. Do the math. Second most carries, 19th in yards per carry on first down. Well, that means they kept handing it and handing it and handing it, and you kept going 0, -1, 1, -1, 0, -1. And I'm sitting in my little man cave just up the street from here, and I'm doing this. I'm falling off my chair. I'm falling on the floor. Zeke, come on. And again, no creativity because Jason Garrett believed in Ezekiel Elliott. He just said he makes his own holes. Let's not trick it up. Right. Let's just say there's no Kyle Shanahan going on here. There's no misdirection sleight of handoff, right?
In other words, you said there's no creativity in their run game.
Not at all. They're just saying, here, go. Just pick your own hole. They used to do that with Emmitt Smith.
Right.
North Turner used to tell me he doesn't like a play call. He doesn't like to have to hit the 5 hole, the 3 hole, whatever hole. Just give him the ball. So they started calling plays in the huddle for Emmitt. Emmitt right on a handoff, or Emmitt left on a handoff, or Emmitt toss right or toss left.
Right.
But no more holes because he runs to daylight.
Right.
It's his gift of just
running behind those hogs.
Yeah, the big old hogs.
He saw a lot of daylight.
But Emmitt at 5'9", you couldn't find him for a while.
Exactly.
And once you found him, it was too late, and he was 8 yards. Okay.
But Skip, I don't get it. I mean, and why now? I mean, people have been critiquing you, Zeke, saying you're not showing the burst that we saw at Ohio State, that you ran 4.4 at the combine, but you don't project, you don't run 4.4s.
And remember the stat from last year, only 4 20-plus yard runs.
Right.
And remember this, speaking of stats, this is a fact. He had a 32-yard run at Chicago on that Thursday night while the game was still hanging in the balance late second quarter.
Right.
And then he had a 4-yard run. And then I'm thinking, take it home. Eric Dickerson we had on the other day, I think the greatest running back ever. And Eric saying, I'm give me the damn ball, right?
Yeah.
And what did Zeke do at that point?
Zeke?
I need out.
He want out.
I need a rest here. What?
Well, Skip, and also what Zeke has to understand is that they still view Zeke as the engine that drives this offense.
All right.
So they really gear up to try to, especially on first down, because they're basically saying, we want the ball in Dak's hand. We do not want 21 to run us in the ground because that's what happened in his rookie year.
Okay, were they too predictable?
Yes.
First and 10, 21's getting the ball. Right up the gut.
And they said, look, let's shut him down. Let's make it 2nd and 10. Let's make it 2nd and 9 so we know they're going to throw it.
Okay. And remember this, as they morphed into a passing team, especially within games and second halves because they were trailing, do you realize Zeke's catches fell precipitously last year?
Right.
I don't know why. He doesn't have the greatest hands, but once he catches it, he can do some damage.
Skip, they had Pollard. Randall Cobb got a lot of catches because this was the first year, Skip, they really had, I mean, Randall Cobb, I like Beasley, but he was an upgrade over Cole Beasley.
I thought so.
And so Gallup came along.
He did.
So now his production is up. You got Amari, going to be Amari. He's the number 1, so he's going to get a lot of targets. Randall Cobb, and then you splitting the third down plays with Pollard.
And by the way, I said Zeke doesn't have great hands. Every once in a while, he makes a great catch.
Right.
But the routine one, sometimes he's looking upfield and he doesn't have.
But we're not looking at him as a pass-catching back like we look at Christian McCaffrey. We look at Kamara. Like we look at some of these other guys that can catch the ball out of the backfield. I think Saquon does a great job of catching the football.
Okay, so I'm going to give Zeke this. He actually underperformed or looked more overpaid less than DeMarcus Lawrence and Amari last year, even maybe Jalen Smith. He underperformed less than those guys did. He was not bad. He didn't quite live up to the money he got, which was $90 million over 5 years. When I expected him to explode, he did not. But I love what he said in his last tweet. The last one is, I do appreciate the standards you guys hold me to.
No, you don't.
Well,
because that's why you tweeted 5 times.
Okay. But I promise you no one holds me to a higher standard than myself. Okay, great. Once again, I'm back to just show me. Just go do it. You don't need to tweet about it. Just do it.
But Skip, you know how this works. When you're a rookie and you have a phenomenal season, That's the standard. The standard for Patrick Mahomes is 5,050 because his first year starting, that's what he was. So that's the 1,600 yards, Zeke. That's your standard.
He dominated this league.
That's your standard.
He tore it apart. That was it.
If you'd have came out and got 1,200, people are like, man, he had a pretty good season.
Yep.
And then you go 1,200, 1,400, 1,600. No, but you go 1,600 out the gate?
And you take a screen pass at Pittsburgh all the way home and take my breath away?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, hit your head on the goalpost on the last play of the game, even though somebody took a bad angle, as you pointed out on tape, right?
Yes.
But that guy was our guy. You know, that guy dominated the league.
So that's the expectation.
Yep.
People have these expectations of Dak. Dak in his rookie season won 13 games. That's the standard.
Dak in his first playoff game threw for 305 and 3 touchdowns. Not bad.
So that's what you do. Kyler Murray's going to be judged by what he did. So Kyler Murray's got a bullet on his rookie season.
All right.
You rookie of the year. I mean, Zeke, what do you expect?
Yep.
The bar doesn't lower as you get older. People don't care anything about that.
Nope. I still love you, Zeke.
That's a good sign. That's a good sign. And I just saw, guys, he just retweeted someone who was standing up for him. So hopefully he's listening. He heard this. Yeah, a lot of pressure for the guy. But either way, we're moving on. No mercy. It's well known that Bill Belichick runs a tight ship in Foxborough. And according to Willie McGinnis, the relationship between Belichick and new Patriot Cam Newton can work if Cam buys into the Patriot way. McGinnis thinks Cam will, quote, respect that he's going to an organization that has had a lot of success without him. So, Shannon, in your opinion, will Cam buy into the Patriot way?
Guess why he wouldn't he? You see, Skip, I think Cam gets a bad rap. I think because Cam has a big personality, he dresses a certain way, people automatically assume he's a problem in the locker room. I've never heard any reports that Cam was a problem. So why would he be a problem in another locker room? Now, we've seen guys go from other places. We heard what Corey Dillon was. We saw situations with Randy Moss and Ocho Cinco. Have that ever been reported with Cam Newton? So why would Cam Newton have a problem in the Patriots locker room? See, he gets a bad rap. There's all this perception that Cam's a bad teammate, that Cam's a problem. Why? Because he celebrates? Because he dabbed? Because he did the Superman? I'm just trying to figure where is this coming from that Cam would have a problem? He said he was wondering, like, okay, maybe my antics, maybe my celebrations, because when his agent told him that New England might have some interest, he's like, well, wait a minute, how me and Coach Belichick's gonna mesh? Because I do what I do, I do what I do on the field. I've never heard of Cam being a problem. And if he was a problem, they did a great job of keeping it quiet. But it's hard for me to believe that a guy of Cam's talent and Cam's profile, it would have gotten out. If he was a problem in the locker room, if he was a problem at any point in time, it would have gotten out. So I believe Cam will be just fine in the Patriots locker room. I think a lot of this gets blown out of proportion. For the most part, every guy that's gone there has been modeled. It's just that some of the guys that he's taken from other places. So why would you automatically assume that Cam was a problem and he would have a problem here when he wasn't a problem there?
Okay, I got you. And to your point, Belichick has taken taken chances on a lot of very talented players who had issues elsewhere.
Yes.
Randy Moss, he was a pretty model to this, and I know he started to go a little haywire there at the end, and after a Monday night game at Miami, Belichick said, that's enough, you're out.
Right,
and
he wanted to get paid.
Okay.
Corey Dillon rushed for 1,500 yards.
Okay, through the time that Chad Johnson was Chad Ochocinco, I was very close with him, and Chad Ochocinco got a shot to go play with Tom Brady as kind of a last hurrah.
Right.
And I believe to this day, Chad will tell you that it didn't work for him to leave Chad Ochocinco at the door because it's who he was.
Correct.
It's what fueled him. He needed to be himself.
Right.
He needed to do the river dance, which is still the all-time greatest ever. It's just like, way to go, Chad. You just blew the top off celebrations with that one. If I look at the highlight, I'll watch it like 15 straight times. But the point is, he checked Ochocinco at the door. He went back to just plain old Chad Johnson.
Right.
He was a little overwhelmed and, dare I say, intimidated by the Patriot way.
Right.
And it showed in his performance.
Right.
He was flat. He looked average. He felt average. He played average.
Well, I think the thing was, Skip, when he first got there and he goes into the meeting room and Coach Belichick turns on the film and he's yelling at Tom Brady.
Because of the Jets playoff loss. He put that tape in on the first day of camp. They had lost a playoff game at home to Mark Sanchez and company, and he put that tape in and blast Brady over it.
Ocho had never been yelled at.
No.
So he's like, hold on, wait a minute.
Okay.
That's Tom Brady you're yelling at. That's Tom Brady you're cursing. I got no chance.
Okay. Now, back to Cam. I disagree with your premise here because I respect Cam for who he is. And again, he was not a problem. He was not an off-the-field problem.
Right.
But he was Cam Newton.
Right.
To me, his personality is the biggest we've ever seen in a quarterback. I'm talking historically.
Right.
We've never seen this. His aura, his sheer physical size. He's a huge human.
He is.
Who is highly capable of imposing his physical will on a defense in ways we have never, ever seen.
Okay.
And because of that, he needs to be Cam. The Patriot way has to be more of the Cam way if he's going to be Cam Newton of 2015, which a lot of people expect.
But my thing is, are you saying...
You can't tell him not to be yourself anymore.
But the Patriots released that hype video. When did they ever release a hype video of somebody?
Okay, well, maybe it's a new day.
Okay.
Bill Belichick just did a Subway commercial.
Right.
It may be he is mellowed. It may be that we've entered into a new realm here, post-Brady. This was the Patriot way. And to me, you're going to have to mellow enough to allow it to be the Cam way. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean it in a great way.
I just think the Patriot way is, Skip, it's all about the team. It's not about you. It's not about your individual stats. The most important stat is the collective stat, is the W. And so you come to work on time. You do what you're supposed to do. You meet, you be courteous, you respect your teammates.
All right, that's all fine. You can't take Cam out of Cam. You have to conform a little bit to his way, which is however he wants to dress, however he wants to wear his hair, just let it go.
Yeah,
great.
Yeah.
Just do that.
Right.
Whatever he wants to post on social, just look the other way. Let it be. If he wants to speak his considerable mind, which he will do on occasion, when he is prompted, when he is provoked by something he sees, he will speak out about it. You got to let that go because in the past, that's been sort of conditioned out of the team. You don't speak out. You have to be careful with the media, right?
You remember when Malcolm Butler tweeted and Tom Brady started liking everything that Malcolm was tweeting?
After the Super Bowl.
Yeah, after the Super Bowl. And there have been times that players have said things and Tom has liked that. But Skip, he let Gronk be Gronk.
Yeah, it was lighthearted Gronk. Like it wasn't, there was nothing controversial, especially about it. I guess you could say his partying was, but it was seen as happy-go-lucky Gronk, right?
And so for me, Skip, and you see LeGarrette Blount, every time he scored a touchdown, he posing with the Minutemen. And so I don't think Cam's going to be a problem as long as Cam does his job.
Okay. So to me, I never thought that locker room leadership was Cam's strongest suit. Where he leads is on the field with play making. You have to let him be who he is on and off the field. You can't expect him to be Brady in the locker room. Brady was strong in the locker room. That was a gift of his, is to be that locker room buffer. Okay, he's a bad guy. He's a dictator. The coach is. We're okay. We're doing this together. We're going to win in spite of him. I don't think that's Cam. That's not the way he operates. But if you give Cam the football, let him throw it, let him run it, play to Cam's strengths, that inspires a football team. But the way Cam fuels himself was with the Superman and with the first down and with all that, it's part of who he has always been. And by the way, that's the way he competed against Tim Tebow at Florida. That's the way he won a national championship at Blinn, a national championship at Auburn. And that is the way he went 15-1 and won MVP and got them to a Super Bowl.
Well, Skip, I do believe that Cam's leadership, maybe he's different than what Brady does. But I just think the thing is that the quarterback needs to echo what the coach is saying. Skip, I remember times that, after the first couple of days of training camp, Skip, you're tired, you're aching. You've been in those pads. And Mike's like, okay, we're in pads again. And everybody's like, oh, man, God, hey, man, Sharpe. I said, look here, bro. The man say we in pads. We got 2 hours. Get them pads on, let's get to work. It's simple as that, Skip. I say, you complaining about it is not going to cause him to take us out the pad. We might as well go ahead and make the best of this situation and let's get it done. Let's have fun with it. And I believe that's what Cam's going to do. And that's what the leader does, is that he
Okay, that's fine. Will he do that?
Yes,
I don't know
absolutely,
for sure. Okay.
absolutely.
Will he allow Bill Belichick to ream him out in a film session or a practice? Can Bill stop practice, blow that whistle, and say, Cam, what are you doing?
Yes,
What are you thinking?
I believe he will. That's not normal, but that's normal in New England. And so, Skip, I mean, if you're in Tampa and you're not buying no meat, no fur coat, no winter clothes, but all of a sudden you go to a cold weather city, you got to dress appropriate. Well, you go into a situation where the coach chastises his players openly. So you have to understand that. Cam knew what he was getting in, because guess what? I believe Cam talked to Coach Belichick. I believe Cam talked to the owner, and they gave him an idea of what to expect coming to New England. And he also has people that played for Coach Belichick.
Okay.
So this is not going to be a secret to him.
Okay. It will behoove Coach Belichick not to try to coach the Cam out of Cam.
Right.
That's my point.
Yes.
Okay.
I agree.
You guys have been watching Cam's social media, I'm sure, like I have. And I probably didn't pay attention to it before, but he looks readier than ever to prove something. He looks so fit. I mean, the guy is motivated beyond belief, I think, to make a name for himself and start the right way. So I'm looking forward to watching it.
No mercy.
After yesterday's deadline passed without Dak and the Cowboys agreeing on a long-term extension, his older brother, Dak Prescott, tweeted, quote, "There's a reason I was never a Dallas Cowboys fan growing up or before they drafted Dak. And after today, who knows how much longer I'll be cheering for them." And according to Jane Slater, Dak wanted to get a deal done at the last minute, but it was just too late. And they ran out of time. So, Skip, I do want to start with you. And trust me, I saw the photo of you laying on the ground.
Yep.
You posted on social media, defeated. How did this make you feel?
Figuratively, I'm still prone on the ground. I'm out. And I tweeted a picture because Hazel walked into the picture and starts licking my face to revive me, like she thought I'd passed out, because I had. So, Mr. Sharpe, there were two flashpoint moments yesterday. After a year and 3 months of talking and talking and talking and talking about this story, till both of us are like cowboy blue in the face. First came Jane Slater's tweet, and I went from elation because it hit me for a split second. Dak wanted to get a deal done. Maybe there was some thawing. Maybe there was some compromising. Is it possible they just ran right up against the 4 Eastern deadline and they just didn't get finished? And then I sat back and started thinking, not Jerry Jones. All he does is make deals on and off the field. On the football field and in the oil field, he just makes deals. He's not going to blow a deadline for something this important. Todd France is a super agent. He represents Aaron Donald, DeAndre Hopkins, and Fletcher Cox. He's not going to blow a deadline. It can't be.
Right.
And then I hit the floor because I hit abject deflation when I saw the tweet from the older brother of Dak Prescott named Dak Prescott. And that's when it hit me that the bad blood has gone from dripping to gushing. Gushing. Because I believe that Dak Prescott had just talked to his younger brother, Dak Prescott, and I believe he was speaking for Dak Prescott when he tweeted. What does Shannon Sharpe always tell me? Anybody close,
Family,
sibling, anybody, you know, then you're basically, everybody's going to leap to the conclusion you are speaking for because you have spoken to.
Yep.
Am I right?
Absolutely.
And I leaped to that conclusion, and I leaped right over the cliff onto the floor. That's where I am, because this was a dark day for Cowboy Nation. This feels like the beginning of the end.
Because his tweet didn't sound like the deal was close.
Not at all. So in the end, as I respect hugely Jane Slater's reporting. She does an excellent job. And I believe one side or the other told her, we actually tried to get the deal done. I'm going to just guess that it came more from the Jerry Stevens side because they are taking a PR beating. They are right now the easiest targets in sports because it's easy to say, why didn't you just pay the man?
Right.
And they are saying, well, gee, at the last second, we actually went back one more time and said, here's the deal, but it's pretty much the same deal they were offering.
Right.
Do I think it was a fair deal? I do. I'm not going to say it was an all-time great can't, the offer you can't refuse. Right. It wasn't that.
It was a respectable deal.
It was respectable because it was 35 and 35 for the first 2 years. If you add those two up, that's $70 million. The tags, if you go 1 and 1 for the next 2 years, 31.4 and 37.7. Right. So the 35 and 35, if I'm doing the math correctly, is a little bit more than the two tags. So that was fair. And if Jane Slater's reporting is right, and I do believe it, $80 million guaranteed at signing is significantly more than Carson Wentz or Jared Goff got. Yeah. Okay, so let's just say it's a credible deal. It's a fair deal. And I believe Dak and his agent had dug in because he's saying, I'm better than this. I'm way better than these guys. Even though my average annual will be above them, I want to go north of 40. I want to get up at least in the Patrick Mahomes region. This is where Dak lost me. This is where I'm disappointed in him and his agent because I do think it's still a big deal to be the quarterback of America's team. I still think it's a big deal to be able to quarterback what Pro Football Focus calls next year the 3 best wideouts in the game. And I do think it's a big deal to get to have 12, 13, 14 off-the-field commercials that you're making, national TV commercials. I'm not counting that as part of your package. It's just part of the aura and mystique of being the Cowboy quarterback. So in the end, it's a horrible outcome because now he's on the tag and up against it for 2 straight years, we think. And the only way out of this is to go win a Super Bowl. And I don't love the odds. I'm not going to proclaim them I thought they could get to the Super Bowl last year. Maybe if they had, we wouldn't be having this conversation. Maybe that would have just forced Jerry to go right over the edge and say, I got to give you 40+ million. I think he would have been more prone to do it. But in the end, I'm going to say this one more time. I saw this bad blood coming. It started back in September. Yep. I believe that Jerry thought a deal was almost done because he said it's imminent after game number 1. And all of a sudden, Todd France goes back and says, Jerry, the price just went way up. Yep. And Jerry has a quick temper, and he's got a lasting temper. See Jimmy Johnson. And once he lost his temper, I think this deal had no chance of getting done. And once it was lost, what did I suggest to you? Why don't they just cut bait here? If this is never going to work out, if this is the beginning of the end of Dak Prescott in Dallas, go get Tom Brady. I'm not laughing or joking about this. I'm not being facetious. Go get Brady, pay him 25 and 25, a lot less than the tag, 34.1, and take your shots. Take 2 Super Bowl shots, a lot of talent, defense is better. See if he could do for Dallas what a lot of people think he's going to do in Tampa Bay. Just take 2 shots with Tom Brady, then start over. Go get somebody in the draft, go sign the best free agent, whatever, because this feels sour to me. This feels like spilled milk that's going sour fast, right? Yeah. Well, Skip. So I'm left feeling like it's a dirty thing, like everybody done each other wrong here.
Skip, you guys could have had this contract done had you done what you were supposed to do, not let Wentz, not let Goff sign before Dak. Because once he saw those guys, he wasn't going to take less than them with 2 years left on his contract. You could have had this done and moved on, and we could have been talking about, everything's going to be, as you like to say, you're going to be able to launch into the season. But because you didn't, and plus Dak is looking, he says, hold on. Jerry Jones, you've had no problem paying them offensive linemen. You had no problem playing Zeke. No problem playing D-Law and Jalen Smith. Now it comes to me. It seems to be a problem. It seems to be that you're unsure. Skip, this notion that they were up against, Skip, it's like at the beginning of the year, the teacher gives you an assignment. Say, you're going to have a term paper. It's due on the last day of class. It needs to be at least 25 pages on a 400-page book. And you wait till the night before and says, I'm up against the deadline. When you know D-well you had the whole semester to get that done. Skip, they had from February of last year, 2019, until July 15th of 2020. And you talk about a deadline? What deadline?
You missed the deadline? I don't.
Man, that's like somebody, man, I was going to have me a 50th birthday party. You 49. You know 50 was coming up. Man, I was going to have that thing. That thing was going to be lit, but man, that thing snuck up on me.
Or you forgot your 50th birthday. Exactly. You missed the dedeadline. I don't think you're going to miss the deadline.
And plus, Dak knows, Skip, this is what Dak knows. Anytime there's a shortage of something, the price skyrockets. Skip, I'm trying to go to the store and get a Lysol wipes and all that. Can't find them. But when you do find them, I'm like, hold on. Just 5 months ago, this thing was $2 for 3-pack.
Yep.
Now you charging me 10 for one?
Good point.
Dak said, hold on. There's a quarterback shortage out there.
Yep.
I know the good ones. I consider myself a good one, no matter what they think of me.
Yep.
I consider myself a good one. Now, let me tell you what's going to happen, Skip. There's a good chance that Deshaun Watson going to sign a contract.
Yeah.
And he going to be 40 or damn near 40.
I believe he'll be 40 plus. Yeah.
Now, guess what?
Should be.
There's another guy that won the MVP last year, unanimous. Now, he comes back and put together another season. He's going to be 40.
Agreed. He could be 50.
Yeah. How do you expect Dak to ever take another $30 million contract when he's seen guys before and after him get 40 plus?
Is Dak better than Deshaun?
No, I would no.
Is Dak better than Lamar?
No.
No.
But here's
Is Dak better than Mahomes? Obviously not.
But Skip, it's the one position that when you come up, it's not being there.
I got you.
It's being last assigned.
All right. Now, here I will criticize Jerry Jones. The Bible says pride goeth before the fall. Jerry has huge pride. Of course. And it can just flip angry at a moment's notice.
Yes.
And once it goes angry, it's hard for him to get it back. I think he got angry back in September. Yahoo reported he was mad at Todd France, the agent, and miffed at Dak. And I don't think Jerry ever could quite let it go. Sometimes his feelings he will prioritize more than winning.
Right.
Sometimes.
Right.
And in this case, I believe he became alienated from Dak Prescott because Dak never tried to play son to him. Dak never tried to kiss up, buddy up.
Dak ain't going on no vacation with the Jones family.
Nope, he is not doing what Tony Romo used to do or what a lot of stars.
Yeah.
Michael Irvin, Des Bryant, Zeke.
Go over to the house and eat.
Yes. Nope. And because of that, the distance has grown between the quarterback and the owner. And because the owner, in the end, his pride is paramount to him. It's all about pride. It's about manhood. It's about, and if he feels like you've done him wrong, I'm just not sure it's ever going to get healed. Right. I'm seriously not.
Yeah.
That's how he is built. And this man is very proud in a good way himself.
Right.
And it's how he's built. Boom, clash. It just feels like it's heading the wrong direction. It feels like he's heading out of town.
Skip, you know this. The older generation.
Yep.
Skip, they stuck in their ways. When something happens, stick a fork in. Ain't no sense in talking to Daddy. You know how he is. Let it go.
That's what. Trust me. That's what those Jones kids say about Daddy.
Yeah.
You know how he is.
Hey, they said the same thing about my grandfather. We knew how he was.
Yep.
Ain't no sense in wasting. I might need this breath somewhere down the line. Ain't no sense in me wasting trying to change your mind.
No mercy. Well, guys, in a recent interview with GQ, Patrick Mahomes said he is proud of his black heritage, despite what some say online. He said, quote, "I've seen how people on Twitter have tweeted and said, oh, you're not full black, but I've always just had the confidence and believed in who I am. And I've known that I'm black, and I'm proud to be black, and I'm proud to have a white mom, too. I'm just proud of who I am." So, Shannon, what do you make of this?
Shows maturity. It shows that he knows who he is. He knows what he is. And at the end of the day, he gets pulled aside the road. Nobody's talking about he has a white mom. He's black at that moment. And he says, talking to other guys in the league and the uneasiness that they feel, he says, I felt that not to that extent. But he also says, I understand that the privilege that I had of growing up, my dad was in the major leagues, a la Calvin Hill, Grant Hill, a la Ken Griffey Jr., his dad was an MLB.
So the privilege came from his father.
Yeah. Right. But here's the thing. What happens when I'm not with my father? And he's like, he understands, Skip, that basically from inception, if you had one drop of black blood in your body, you were black.
I've always heard the one drop theory. Right?
Yes. And so for me, Skip, and Mahomes, because I think early on he tweeted something that a lot of people thought was damaging about Trayvon Martin. And so it shows his growth, that he's maturing and that he's growing and that he's understanding that with that comes a lot of responsibility. And his voice carries a lot of weight. He understands that he has a platform and it is his duty to represent that platform.
He was one of the first to jump out and criticize Drew Brees.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely. And Skip, now
Make
what
the video?
Yep. He's with LeBron and get out the vote. Skip, this is touching because it shows a man that understands who he is and it's never going to be. And he's right, Skip. There's going to be there's this degree. And we're one of the few racial people that ever have to deal with this. He's not black enough. I've never heard someone of the white race say, well, you're not white enough. Or someone of the Asian race say, you're not Asian enough. Or you're not Jewish enough. It's just us.
Russell Wilson in the Seattle locker room, we kept hearing some of his teammates, especially on defense, he's not black enough. Okay.
And so for him to acknowledge you know, he doesn't say, well, you know, I'm multi-this and I'm this and that. And you're going to allude to a guy that he wants to be, at the time when he was growing up, he was black. And he wanted to go to and win the Masters because they didn't let black golfers golf the course. And the moment he won, now all of a sudden he like 15 different things. Except, I'm this, and this. But for Patrick Mahomes to say this and to be this devout, and I'm black. Hey, I'm proud of my white mom, but I'm black.
Yep. He has no identity crisis whatsoever.
None whatsoever. Yep. None whatsoever. And, bro, don't let Twitter try to convince you that you're anything other than. You can embrace both of them, but just understand at the end of the day, they see you. They don't see you as, oh, he's biracial. You're black.
So I'm fascinated by this because I'm fascinated by life. But on this issue, I always just defer to you. What you say goes with me. But let's talk about Tiger Woods, because that was the first time as a white guy, I sort of faced this issue of, wait a second, he just told Oprah soon after the 97 Masters, I resent being called black.
Yeah.
You do?
He resented it.
He resents being called black, and he's invented a new word for what he is, combination, which is, I think, Caucasian, black, Native American, because his father, I think, had a quarter Cherokee Native American in him, and Asian, because his mom is Thai, okay? Kabla Nation. I resent being called black. We're about to have Rob Parker on the show, close friend of mine, and Rob became the biggest Tiger Woods fan. He could care less about golf, but he tells the story. I
on his
spent half of my honeymoon watching Tiger win the Masters.
First mistake.
Okay. Well, that didn't last long. Okay, but the point was, as soon as he heard I resent being called black, he'd bought all this Tiger paraphernalia, you know, hat and T-shirt, all this. He said he took it to Goodwill, and I believe him.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Whew. So what do you do with that? So, you know, from my perspective, I'm all about, hey, be whoever you feel like being. If that's who you want to identify as. If you want to identify as combination, that's your right. That you can do whatever you want. I don't know how it hit you when you heard, I resent being called black.
Yes, it didn't go over well with me.
Not well. Does he have the right to say that? Sure he does. Again, do you have the right to say, that's just wrong?
You full of caca?
Okay,
sure.
You do. Okay, so this is another interesting discussion I had way back when on First Take. We didn't do it. We touched it on the air, but it was mostly off the air. This is pre-Stephen A. on First Take. But I had a discussion with three of my black colleagues. I believe it was Rob and Jamel Hill and Chris Broussard, talking about Blake Griffin. I went to high school with his mother, who happened to be 2 years ahead of me, and she was the head cheerleader. I did not know her because she was the most popular girl in school. She was tall, she was redheaded, and she was porcelain skin.
Yeah.
And when I first heard that, wait a second, she's Blake's mom, it amazed me because I just wouldn't have made the connection. She married a prominent high school basketball coach, like a legendary high school basketball coach in Oklahoma City. And here comes Blake, and Taylor came first, and then Blake Griffin. Okay, so I was asking my three black colleagues, is it okay for me to have some rooting interest in Blake? Because I went to the same high school as mom did, right? Just like a rooting interest. I'm not claiming him as white. I'm just saying, can I root for him? And we went back and forth, and it seems like two of them said, yeah, it's okay. But Chris Broussard said, well, don't forget the one drop. You know, the one drop is the one drop. And once you got the one drop, he is black. As light-skinned as he might be, Chris Broussard's fairly light-skinned, but one drop, black. Right? So if Blake Griffin gets pulled over, what is he?
He's black.
Okay, thank you very much. So now I will conclude my sort of education on this. My wife, Ernestine, came from a Jewish mother, but father, Italian, raised Catholic, goes to a Methodist church with me. But if you ask Ernestine, what are you? I'm Jewish, because that's what the culture taught us.
Right.
If you come from, the mom is Jewish, you identify as Jewish.
Correct.
Okay? So I've pointed out to her that, okay, but you didn't have an Afro-Italian father because you're white.
Right.
So you don't have that identity crisis of your skin is, you don't have dark skin.
Skip, I think the biggest, I think what makes me and a lot of other blacks proud is that seems like when biracials, when they become prominent, all of a sudden they forget the black side. And then all of a sudden it seems like Tiger forgot that for all the time he was growing up, nobody referred to him as combination. He never mentioned anything about his Asian background or his Native American background. He was African American.
And he's told many stories about discrimination that he felt on golf courses. They're mostly military golf courses, but how, wait, you're going to play? Yeah, I'm going to play.
And it seems that when they rise to prominence is that they forget about the blackness. We saw that with OJ. OJ's like, I ain't black, I'm OJ.
It's a good example.
And so, okay, OJ. And then what happens, Skip? He get jammed up, and the first thing he do, he got pictures of the cookout. He got all the black stuff, and he ain't had them pictures that was in the trunk, a Foot Locker somewhere.
It's a good example.
But when they brought the jury out, he had them all on the walls and everything. You like, and Marshall Clark would tell a story like, oh, stop. Now, you know good well he ain't got no black friend. But, and for Patrick Mahomes to say, yeah, I'm black. I'm worth $500 million, but I'm black. And that makes the black community, because so many times it seems like if you're biracial, or you become, even if you're not biracial, you become something, you want to move away from blackness. And it hurts. It hurts the community, because whites never stop trying to be white. Asians never stop trying to be Asian.
I do know some white people who try to be black.
Yeah. Just for they want bigger lips and things like that, but you might have that, but they don't want that black skin. They want to be almost. So Patrick Mahomes, man, kudos for you to go out there and say,
I do admire him even more after I read this interview.
Yes,
these are mature quotes from him.
It is.
He nailed it. It came across as very forthright, and he's very in command of who he is and where he's headed.
And Skip, at the end of the day, guess what? Tiger, he went through what he went through. Who welcomed him back with open arms? Man, Tiger, black community. OJ did what he did. Who's the black community? Michael Jackson, rest his soul. When they go through something, the community, Skip, we forgive him, remember? Even though you turned your back on us, we're going to welcome you back with open arms. Patrick Mahomes.
After Tiger went through what he went through, you hung in.
We hung in there with him.
Yep.
When everybody beat him down.
Good point.
I'm just saying, Tiger. What about his documentary? He got a...
Oh, yeah. I don't know that he's taken flack for it, but HBO has a 2-part documentary on Tiger, and it's all white. They're 2 white directors, and they're taking flack about, where's the representation here? Do you have a black representation? Do you have minority? Do you have Asian?
But Skip, remember what we talked about. Everybody says the Black Lives Matter, and we want to get more diverse. But when it comes down to doing these projects, it's the same thing. White men doing it.
Okay. Well said.
I ain't got no problem with that. But don't be telling me we want to be diversified. You want diversity, and we want to have a representation of men, women, black, Asian. Don't give me that. And then when it comes to these projects, so you shooting these $100 million movies, $200 million movies, and it's the same thing. But I thought we was doing diversity. I thought 2020 was about change.
We still have a long, long way to go, is what we're getting at. And
yes.
Back to the Patrick Mahomes article, which it was really well done. Just his maturity at age 24, knowing he was negotiating that deal and saying, I have a voice, I have to use it. It starts with me, and it's going to continue. And I'm looking forward to the future with Patrick Mahomes. It was a good insight into where he is going. No mercy. Saturday night, Rising Stars and Wiley Vets battle as they return to Texas in the NASCAR Gander RV Outdoors Truck Series. Catch all the race action live at 8 Eastern on FS1 and the Fox Sports app. Well, after months of speculation and debate, the deadline came and went without the Cowboys and Dak agreeing to a long-term extension. This comes after Jerry Jones said a deal with Dak was, quote, imminent. So, Shannon, on a scale of 1 to 10, what do you think Jerry's level of confidence in Dak is right now?
5. And I'm just splitting the difference, Skip. It might be lower than that. Because if you have confidence in something, you get the deal done. You've seen 4 years. 4 years. And that's a large sample size to see. 64 games is a large sample size. Skip, I'm not talking about he came in off the bench a couple of games and filled in. And you're like, well, I think he might be able to do this. This is not a situation where he's had one good game or a season. Dak has played well. 64 games, never missed a start. Taking your team to 2 playoffs, he's won a playoff game. And he's done that all in his first 4 years. And since the merger, there are only a handful of quarterbacks. Matt Ryan, Russell Wilson. There are only a handful, Skip, that can say, you know what, Dan Marino, that says, I won more games than Dak Prescott did in his first 4 years. And Jerry's like, nah, but I'm still unsure. Because if you were sure, he was sure with Tony Romo. He's sure with Zeke. He's sure with DeMarcus Lawrence. He's sure with those offensive linemen and Jalen Smith. He was absolutely certain. And he signed those guys and didn't bat an eye. But for Dak Prescott, you know what? I need 1 more year. I'm probably going to need 2 more years, Dak, to see, because I'm probably going to franchise you next year also. But the price, the one thing we know about prices on quarterback, Skip, there's a lot of prices that have come down. Defensive lineman, you have a bad year, price will come down. Running back, you can have a great year and the price still not going up because we saw that with Derrick Henry. But quarterback prices, the quarterback market, it's like the housing market, Skip. It ain't coming down, especially in certain areas. And Dak Prescott price isn't coming down. Barring injuries, knock on wood, watch over him. Dak Prescott comes off the field healthy next year, the price going up. This was the last chance that Jerry had to sign him for in the 30s. Next year's going to be $40 million, at least.
Look, if you're right about this, if your confidence level is, would you say?
5.
5. If it's not above 5, then you should cut bait. To me, if you're not sure, well, you can't start talking about $40 million, right?
Right.
Okay, let him go. Because if you're not sure, then he's not going to come back to haunt you.
Right.
Right?
Exactly.
Okay. I still believe that Jerry believes Dak Prescott has a better chance at winning a Super Bowl than Tony Romo had. He paid Tony Romo because he loved him like a son. He enjoyed his company, vacations, and he was hoping for, he was rooting like mad for Tony Romo to beat the odds and win a Super Bowl. Nothing would have made him happier. In fact, he had a quote at the end of the Romo run. My biggest regret as an owner is that I wasn't able to put Tony in a position to win a Super Bowl. That would have meant everything to him, much more than it would have meant for Troy to win, because Tony was a son to him.
But Skip, he put him in a position. Think about what Tony Romo had. He had T.O., he had Jason Witten in his prime, he had Marion the Barbarian. He had those big offensive linemen.
I'm not sure they had defenses that were Super Bowl.
DeMarcus Ware!
It was okay. It wasn't great. It wasn't dominating. He could dominate on occasion.
Yeah.
On occasion.
And then what did Jerry do with him? He was unsure with D. Ware. And what did D. Ware do?
He went and won a Super Bowl.
And went to 3 Pro Bowls.
He did. I got you. I still believe that the answer to this question is 8. I think his confidence level is an 8 in Dak Prescott. But there's a better question here.
What?
What is your love level for Dak Prescott?
Oh, okay, that's 2.
Okay, scale of 1 to 10. I had 3. I wrote 3 down.
Oh, you saying me or Jerry?
No, Jerry.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Jerry,
yeah.
3.
Yeah, okay.
3 on
We
the
close.
love level, okay? So the love level undercut the confidence level.
Okay.
Like, he believed in him because I think he was in awe of him rookie year, maybe not so much second year, then third year, especially the second half of the third year.
So in other words, Skip, it's like a relationship. I love you, but I'm not confident this thing's going to go the distance.
Something like that.
Yeah, because that's what Jerry did. Because if Jerry love and confidence matched up, they'd have got the deal done.
And Jerry backed himself into a corner he couldn't fight his way out of. And by what he did was he was notorious overpaying, king of the overpaid Jerry Jones. He way overpaid Amari, $20 million after he quit 3 times on the road, but he felt like he had to or lose him to the rival Washington.
Right.
He way overpaid DeMarcus Lawrence. That got ugly. That got mudslinging ugly, but he sort of caved in at the end, and he gave him what's 21.5 a year. Now, Myles Garrett just clips that. Boom.
Yeah.
But still, 21-5. It was right up there in Khalil Mack territory, and you got 5 sacks from him last year, and you got a lot of disappearing acts from him
He's
last
getting paid like Khalil Mack and Aaron Donald.
He is.
Without the production.
Zeke just wasn't Zeke last year.
Right.
He wasn't the guy I'd come to expect to just dominate defense, to take over football games.
Okay.
And Jalen Smith wasn't one of, he just didn't have a Jalen
We didn't see
Smith
the
year.
suddenness that we saw the year before.
And again, he didn't have Wolf Hunter beside him, but maybe if he bounces back from his neck problem.
Right.
Okay, so the point is, you keep overpaying, and all of a sudden you look at your bottom line, you look at your cap, and it is a hard cap, and the Jones family doesn't get a bigger cap than anybody else. They got a lot of money, but they don't get a bigger cap.
Right.
And he's saying, man, I don't know. Can I go 40+ for Dak? Okay.
But Skip, but here's the thing. Dak said, I've seen you overpay all your other employees, but now you're going to make the correction with me.
Got it. I'm with you. But something happened back in September that alienated Jerry Jones. He got mad at Todd France. He got miffed, according to Yahoo, at Dak Prescott. And I think the blood just continued to go bad to the point of going sour. So on the love scale, it's about a 3.
Right.
So it undercut the faith scale. The faith scale, I think, is still high.
But Skip, if you're a team executive, and you're going to be dealing with the contract negotiation, let's just say I play baseball, and all of a sudden the guy comes in and says, my new representative is Scott Boras. Skip, you know what's up.
Oof, do you?
You know what's up.
A fight.
Okay, they get Todd France, or they go get Tom Condon, or they get Drew Rosenhaus. Skip, they're not coming to do no deals.
No.
So you know that Jerry had to know, because Dak could have went with Todd France out of college.
Could have.
You could have gone with anybody, but he went with somebody that he felt comfortable with. But he said, you know what? I believe Jerry going to try to take advantage of you. That's exactly why I switched agents. I said, man, they're going to try to take advantage. I said, let me go get somebody that's a heavy hitter. I went and got Marvin. He represented Elway, represented Marino, Rod Woodson. I said, okay.
But your first agent was out of college, right?
Well, my first agent was my brother's agent. Because he did my contract. I was scared that little bit of money I was making.
Okay.
I didn't give him $63,000. So.
Okay, 7th round pick.
That was 7th round pick.
4th round pick. So I don't know if Todd France would have taken him as a client. I don't know.
Might not have.
Yeah.
Because, a lot of these guys, they want, first rounders, second round picks.
Yeah. I got it.
No mercy.
After Patrick Mahomes signed the largest contract in NFL history, our friend Rob Parker wrote a column saying everyone should pump the brakes on Kansas City. And Rob said this, guys, there's a good chance the Chiefs don't win another Super Bowl during Mahomes' 12-year contract. Rob Parker is with us now. Rob, state your case.
I get it. Everybody's excited. Shannon's on board now after he didn't even pick them for the Super Bowl. But now he's all in. He thinks they're going to win every time out. And all I'm saying is go look at the history of the NFL. When Kurt Warner and the Rams, the greatest show on turf, nobody would have ever believed that they wouldn't have won another Super Bowl, but they didn't. Aaron Rodgers, when they won with the Packers, you would have thought they would have won. They haven't even been back to the Super Bowl. And you can even Russell Wilson and the Legion of Boom, right? What about them? With that defense and Russell Wilson, you would have assumed that they would have won 2 or 3. They haven't won anything.
Well, they had one.
Well, they won 1.
What about Pete Carroll?
Well, but they didn't win it, and that's my point. And the other thing is, even Skip, you and Tom Brady, and you can give Brady all the credit you want and everything, but let's just be honest. He went 10 years. There was a 10-year drought of them not winning a Super Bowl. Do you remember that, Skip? Nobody. People act like that didn't happen.
I remember 9 years, not 10. 9.
It was, all right, whatever you wanted. It was almost 10 years, a full decade without winning. So my point is that you can be great. And one other example is Dan Marino, who threw 48 touchdowns his second year, went to the Super Bowl. Everybody just assumed, oh, yeah, Marino and the Dolphins, they're going to win and they're going to do this. They never won it. They never win again. Dan Marino played 17 years in the NFL. So before you give Patrick Mahomes 3, 4, 5 Super Bowls, just realize that it doesn't happen that often, and dynasties are very difficult to put together.
I agree. They are very difficult, Rob. And the thing is, you look at Kurt Warner. At the time of Kurt Warner won his first one, he was already 28 years of age. Pat Mahomes has another 4 or 5 years before he reaches that age. Dan Marino is a very compelling point. And the thing is that what I like most about Kansas City is that when they got Honey Badger, they improved in their secondary. They re-signed Chris Jones. The thing that hurt Dan is that they never had a defense. What hurt Aaron Rodgers? He's only had one top 5 scoring defense, and the year he had it, guess what he did, Rob? He won the Super Bowl. So the Green Bay front office let him down. I do not believe Andy Reid and that front office will let Patrick Mahomes down. Their core players are signed at the bare minimum for the next 2 years. So I'm not saying he's going to win 5, 6, 7, 10, but for me, I think there's a greater chance he wins 1 or 2 than there's a likelihood that he does not win 1 or 2.
Well, that's not very dynastic, is it? 1 or 2?
No, I already told you, Skip Bayless. We winning 1 of the next 2.
1 of the next 2?
Yeah.
So you, in 12 more years of contract, you say he'll win two more Super Bowls?
Yep, that's right? What I told you.
Okay, so Rob, to your point, I said that over the next 12 years, Patrick will get to 2 Super Bowls and win 1 more. That would be an accomplishment because you did. I read your piece, Rob. It was well written, well conceived, unusually, but it was. and yet, you make very compelling points. It's just hard to sustain in this league,
especially football.
It's just hard. Everybody, you got reverse order drafting, you got free agency, you got caps. It's hard. And so I do think, Rob, it points up just how great Tom Brady was. And I hear you about your one stretch. I counted it last night just to make sure. 9 years, he got to 2 Super Bowls and lost both of them to, of all quarterbacks, Eli Manning. That's what happened in that stretch. But remember, he opened his career by winning 3 out of 4 in the first 4 years he was starting. He closed his career in New England, going to the Super Bowl 4 times in 5 years and winning 3. And in the one he lost, he set the all-time playoff record for passing yards in a game. Well, that's pretty spectacular. That's like a dynasty start and a dynasty finish wrapped into, and it adds up to 9 and 20 years. It just points up how phenomenal, how off the chart that accomplishment was. But back to your Marino point, I'm going to give Patrick Mahomes one thing over the Marino that I covered and watched fairly closely. Patrick is more coachable than Dan Marino was. You worked with him, Shannon, so you know. He was an all-time. I thought he was the greatest thrower of football that I've ever seen. I know you guys talk about Aaron Rodgers. Whoa, could he? But he didn't like to run the football, so he didn't want to call running plays. He wanted to throw it every down to his detriment. And his defenses were not great, so he had the one off-the-charts year, and he lost to, no shame, Joe Montana. Right. He got outgunned by Joe Montana in the Super Bowl. And then he really never got close to going back.
No.
Okay.
And Skip, you mentioned that. He had, in Dan Marino's career, he had one 1,000-yard rusher, and it was the other Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Yep.
So let that sink in for just a second. And when you can't run the football, if you just throw, you don't have a defense that can withstand that. So now you throw, you put your defense right back on the field, and teams go up and down the field on you. But I like Patrick Mahomes for this. He's young enough. They have their core players tied. See, the thing is, what football is so difficult, Skip, basketball will trade their best player to a team that's been in the playoffs. So will baseball. Football, they're not trading their best player to a team that's going to the playoffs. If they trade their best player, he's going to a bad team. So you don't get even better by taking someone else's best players. And then free agency, Skip, the good teams, they can't sign top-notch free agents because there isn't cap space. So I think that has a lot to do with why we don't see dynasties in football like we've seen in the other sports.
Here's the other part, Shannon, too. When you talk about the NFL and its landscape, look at the other good young quarterbacks in Lamar Jackson, Deshaun Watson, who will put up competition for Patrick Mahomes. And then if you go over to the NFC, you still have some veterans.
Yeah, Russell Wilson's not going anywhere.
But who are still trying to pad their resumes as they end their career and hope to have a run like Brady at the end, where maybe you could sneak in and you're Aaron Rodgers and win 1 or 2 in your last 5 or 6 years or something like that. So I just think that the road is way more difficult. It's not to take anything away from him and what he was able to accomplish. But even last year, he didn't rank in any of the major statistical categories for quarterbacks in the NFL. None. And people go right away, oh, well, he was injured. He played 14 games. He went from 50 touchdowns to 26. And when you even factor in the injury thing, look at Drew Brees. He played 11 games and had more touchdowns than Patrick Mahomes. So I'm just saying, look at the numbers. I'm not saying they figured him out, but he was not nearly as dominant as he was a year ago.
Yeah, and to your point, Rob, he did lose last year back-to-back home games to Indy and the Houston Texans, and his QBRs were very low in both those games by his standards. And then I keep trying to convince Shannon of this. He was pretty lucky to win the one Super Bowl he just won. He threw a late third-quarter interception, down 20-10. I thought, is that ball game? He threw another one early in the fourth quarter, down 20-10. I thought, uh-oh, is that the end of this Kansas City team? And then he got away with that 3rd and 15 punt that he threw with a pass rusher in his face. He just threw it up for grabs, and Tyreek came back and fair caught it. He had to wave and fair catch it, and it went for 44 yards and saved the game.
Turned
the game.
Well, that's just Kyle Shanahan is the one who gave up that Super Bowl.
Well, he did, thanks to Jimmy
Rob,
G.
but you and I both know Patrick Mahomes should have 2 Super Bowls already. He should have beat Tom Brady the year before. If they call that old ticky-tack, if a D4 doesn't line up offside, they got the game won. So he should have 2.
They should have won that game. Yes. I'll give you that. But that wasn't the Super Bowl. That was the AFC Championship game.
They were going to get to that. Go ahead.
All I'm saying is it ain't as easy as people want to make it out to be. And everybody's already crowning them. Be careful about that. I always go back to Kurt Warner and the Rams. You know this, Shannon. That team was dynamic. Ain't no way people thought. Remember even when the Patriots beat them, people couldn't believe that.
Yeah, what happened, they got old, they got injured. Marshall started having knee problems. Kurt Warner was already, we have to realize, he was already 28. And his body started breaking down. The guys got old. Patrick Mahomes, this team is young, Rob. Their oldest skill position player is Travis Kelce at 30. Tyreek is 26. Hardman is 22. My homeboy is 24.
Okay, so predict 4 Super Bowls. Well, seriously. Come on.
3 Super Bowls with 4 MVPs would be great for my homeboy. But Rob, if you compare every season to 50 touchdowns and 5,000, Patrick Mahomes is going to be a bum because there's a less chance that he'll put those numbers up again than what he did in his second year.
No doubt.
All right, Rob, appreciate it. Always good to have you with us. Good to see you.
Yes.
It is good,
yes, it is.
Shannon.
Thank you.
Keep your opinions to yourself. Rob, have a good one. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
No mercy.
Well, guys, the king might not be living like a king right now. Chris Haynes reports that in hopes of showing solidarity with his teammates at Disney World, LeBron decided not to bring his personal masseuse, his personal chef, and his normal security details. So, Shannon, do you like LeBron's approach here?
Well, Skip, I'm not so sure they can only bring 37 people per team. So if LeBron's bringing all those guys, that means somebody's going to get left out. Now, the security detail, I get it, because you're in a bubble, you're not gonna need a detail. And I just read an article where Kemba Walker said to see LeBron walking by himself, he probably hadn't done that since he was 9 years of age. I
agree. Yep.
But Skip, the hardest part for me would be the chef, because I started bringing my own food to the work in '96.
Now, I read that the chef is there, but off-site, and you can send the food in.
Well, that seems, because they can't be in the bubble. But I think LeBron is trying to show, look, guys, I'm with you. We're in this thing together.
I agree. I think this is about camaraderie. I think it's about chemistry. He's going to live like common folk for about 3 months.
Yeah.
Okay, I get that. But he also got forced to because of that 37 limit. So you got 17 players. You got a video staff, a training staff, a scouting staff, a coach of 7. You got 7 plus the head coach, obviously. And all of a sudden, you just, if LeBron sort of big times it and says, well, I got to have X, Y, and Z on the plane, you're going to take up 5 of your spots.
At some point in time, being the finals, I mean, I imagine that Jeannie and the Bus family going to come down, Skip.
I would think so. So I think he's going to be okay.
Yeah, I mean, but that just goes to show you. Tom Brady had to have his guy travel with him. Remember, Skip? You remember the guy got to travel, the liability guy? He got to be on the plane? Oh!
How many times has LeBron been at odds with his owner or general manager over how many seats he gets on the team plane?
All I'm saying, Goat James says I'm one of the guys.
Okay.
Just one of the
That's what
guys.
makes him unique.
Yeah.
Super average guy. Skip, you got through the show. Oh, good stuff, guys. That is it for Undisputed. Have a good day.